Hi Pisces, welcome to your July 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Before I forget, for those of you who'd like to book a personal reading with me, follow me on Instagram or donate to the channel, please check out the description of the video for more info on all of that. And also thanks to you, those of you wherever who have liked, subscribed, and donated already. And for those of you who follow my normal videos, you might notice that this is a different spread than usual and there's different tarot cards on the table. So first, the deck on the left here is actually the Lover's Path Tarot, and then the deck on the right is actually the Tarot Sexual Magic. And this is a different spread as well. This is a spread that I call the Bridging the Gap spread. So the way it works is the three cards on this side would represent your energy, the three cards on this side would represent the other person's energy. And basically, the positions, this would represent the past energy between the two of you, the present energy, and then the future energy. And then once we're done with the main spread, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to see if we could get some additional insight, and that's where the bridging the gap element comes into play. All right, so just to say, at first glance, this looks like a pretty wild reading, so I don't know, this might just end up resonating for a handful of you, but we'll see. It looks kind of like a soap opera or something, but let's get right into it. Starting with the past position for your side, we have the Six of Staves. So that's the equivalent to the Six of Wands in the regular tarot. You know, the artwork is somewhat similar, right? Except in the regular tarot, in the Rider-Waite, you would normally see a group of people around the person as well celebrating him. But, you know, this is generally a card of feeling victorious in something. It's a congratulatory type of energy. So feeling like you've overcome something, maybe had some kind of success in an endeavor of some way, shape, or form. Now, you know, given that this is a relationship dynamic, maybe you successfully courted someone, right? Maybe you were trying to get with them for a while and then they finally came around to seeing things your way and actually got into a relationship with you. But for some of you, it actually could also be getting out of one too, because like I said, the energy is kind of crazy with this reading. But let me get to their past position. And also, I will say, if as we're going through the spread, I forget to mention it sometimes. If it feels more like the energy on this side is your energy and this is the other person's, then definitely trust that. It is just a general spread after all. All right. So the past energy on their side, they actually have the Tower card and the Six of Wands. So both of you have Six of Wands in your past energy, which is very interesting because this person has the Tower to go along with it on their side. As you can see, the artwork is pretty self-explanatory as far as it looks like someone got caught in a third-party scenario. So, you know, how that would make them feel victorious, I don't know. You know, maybe it's something that they suspected for a long time and then they actually found it out and then, you know, that enabled them to move on. You know, it could be one of those things. But like I said, it's very odd that both of you have that Six of Wands energy in the past. So maybe this is one of those things where you wanted to get out of the connection anyway, and then they finally left, and then, you know, you felt the relief from it. So maybe both of you were kind of done with each other, but maybe neither of you wanted to make the move. I don't know. And then seeing this third party scenario finally got them there. It's interesting though. What I notice is as we go through the spread on their side, it looks like the feminine energy might be the same in all three cards, and then the masculine energy maybe in the first two. So it definitely seems like there could have been some split going on. Now, for some of you, this could be another thing where maybe they were already in a relationship. They found out that the person they were with was cheating, and maybe that's where your victory came in because maybe then you saw it as an opportunity, like, oh, okay, they broke up with this person, and then maybe you actually came in and made an offer to them, and then the two of you moved together. That's certainly at least a possibility, but I don't know. This seems like, at least for some of you were involved in the third party scenario in some way, shape, or form. Whether you caught them or they caught you. Now, where it gets even more interesting is in the present position on your side. We have the fertility card, which is it's the Empress in the normal tarot. It's the equivalent to the Empress, but given that it is clearly called fertility, gives me a bit of a different vibe with this deck. And, you could see the woman's clearly pregnant as well. So I have to say that for some of you, what could end up happening here is maybe as a result of the third party scenario, I don't know. It looks like there might have been a pregnancy involved that you might find out about. And what's interesting about that is there's that solar eclipse coming up early in July, I think the second or third, and that's actually going to be in your fifth house. Fifth house could definitely be related to children. So, yeah, some of you could definitely find out that you're pregnant in the month of July. Now, the question would be, do you find out, like, if you were the one involved in third party, let's say, do you find out that it was with the person you were with or the person that you introduced as a third party? Or is it more like the other way around? You found out that the person you were with got someone else pregnant. You know what I mean? It's definitely, like I said, this is definitely a crazy looking spread. It could totally play out a different way, and we'll get into that too. That's really the first thing I'm picking up here, which is pretty intense. But yeah, another way that this could just play out too, though, with the Empress energy in a less scandalous way, like I said, especially for those of you where maybe this was someone you had your eye on for a long time. They finally found out the person they were with was cheating, and then that actually gave you the opportunity to get something off the ground with them, right? That could be what happened. Um, but if we just look at this with the pregnancy vibe and everything aside, this is a Taurus energy, a Venusian energy as well. So really what this could just be pointing to as well could just be saying that you might just be in that very receptive open energy right now. So maybe you're receptive to offers, and especially like let's say that it is that scenario where this is a person that you wanted and then they ended up breaking up with someone in the past because they found out about a third party. Maybe this is you now getting things off the ground with them. That could be definitely more positive and less scandalous way that energy could be playing out. The present energy on their side is the King of Chalices. So this is the equivalent to King of Cups, and this is a Scorpio energy. So some of you could definitely be dealing with a Scorpio. Um, or possibly, well, Leo's more doubtful since you both have Six of Staves in the past position. So yeah, it's probably more likely that you might be dealing with a Scorpio, but it could be any water sign, and it could just also be the energy that they're bringing as well, which could be saying that they could be a bit closed off emotionally with you, really standing their ground, setting their ways, as far as whether they were the ones in the third party or you were the one in the third party. They could be really like stubborn about doing anything either way. And it could definitely be a different person, but I do see the similarities in artwork with this person and then also the King of Chalices. And like I said, the woman in these cards looks like it could definitely be the same too. So at the very least in the present, like let's say they were involved in the third party situation, maybe they're still currently involved in that. Um, this is going to be like a crazy season too, with as far as there's going to be the eclipses that we were talking about, and then Mercury's going to be retrograde, so there's definitely going to be some crazy dynamics going on. But this is definitely a pretty interesting reading. On the more positive side, this could just be, again, like I said, especially if it's someone who did leave a connection and maybe now they're with you because they found out that the old relationship they were in, the person had a third party going. Maybe this is the energy that they're coming into with you, which could be a bit more of an open and loving energy, definitely. But, like I said, the majority of you, I'm getting that vibe that could be definitely third party related, though. And then what's interesting in the near future position on your side as well, we have the Judgment card. So this represents things coming back from the dead. So let's just go through a few different scenarios. Like if it is that you found out that, maybe you broke up with the person in the past, but then you find out you're pregnant, right? So maybe you let them know the situation, and maybe now they're trying to decide, all right, well, are we going to make this work or what, right? That's one way it could play out. Um, Another way it could play out is if you found out that they got someone else pregnant. That could be a judgment moment too, where now you have to decide, all right, well, are you gonna, break up with them completely or what? This could just be someone from the past coming back too, so it might even be a different person. You guys could just have a lot of different people, because that's another thing too. Your fifth house is going to be activated all month, so that could just show a lot of activity in general in your love life. But for a lot of you, I feel like this is more about one connection, really. So let's say that this was all just past energy, right? And like I said, this doesn't necessarily have to mean that there's a pregnancy involved, although some of you might find that out in July. If it's totally separate from that, maybe this was you putting in the work to get back with this person. Maybe they found out about a third party in the connection they were in, and now, okay, they come back around and they're actually able to get things off the ground with you. But why that seems a little less likely is because the energy in their side in the future is the Five of Pentacles. So, but there's a couple ways to look at this. The Five of Pentacles energy, the way I look at it is I sometimes refer to it as the in sickness and in health card, which is like those wedding vow type things so maybe you guys really did just go through a rough patch, right? Maybe you both walked away from each other and you both felt like it was for the best. You were happy initially, right? And then maybe that was the thing that threw um, a wrench into those plans. Maybe you guys both agreed to split, even if it was just temporarily, and then you find out, oh, wait, I'm pregnant, right? So maybe there was no third party. Maybe that's just a surprise, like where did this come from? The tower just could be a shocking revelation. And, maybe actually finding that out, maybe that's what got you guys back on track too, if it was, something that, or maybe even let's say that there was speculation. Maybe they thought that you were cheating on them, but then it turned out, no, you actually weren't, and they actually, yes, you're pregnant, but it's their child. It could be another way it's playing out. Because, with the Five of Pentacles, we do often refer to it as the being left out in the cold energy. But like I said, it's also the in sickness and in health energy, as I refer to it. And, meaning that you guys might have gone through a rough patch, but you might really try to fight through it and make things work. Um, so, given that this is their energy on that side, maybe, again, this was someone they were dealing with more recently. Because, like I said, the woman looks like it could be the same person in all three. And then you have the same looking guy in the first two. In the third card, it's someone different. So maybe that's what the judgment is about. Meaning that, they were in this relationship, they found out about a third party going on, and now the judgment is you coming back around, and they're actually, maybe they're a little reluctant to accept it because maybe they're not fully over the whole situation they went through, because it looks like she might be a little standoffish about the connection, but looks like there is promise there. And what's even more interesting, with all this craziness that we were just talking about, the bottom of the deck on your side, we have Grace, which is the equivalent of the Star card, which is, obviously it's often referred to as a card of wish fulfillment. I actually do point out to people that, I view it as a dissolution of ego card, because, it's number 17 and number 16, even though it's a different deck, but you can see 16 is the Tower. So to me, this is usually what comes after a Tower moment. So usually it's one of those things where, you free yourself from ego. You might see things more clearly than they were in the past. For example, the Tower could be you build something up in your head to be one way, and you think it's a lot more stable of a foundation than it really is. Something comes along to knock that foundation away, and then you're forced to look at things for how they actually are. So maybe that's what that Tower moment was in the past. Maybe you guys both decided to part ways. You were happy initially, but then maybe, there was that pregnancy out of nowhere. So now you're like, all right, well, what are we going to do? Are we going to try to work through this, or are we going to, just go out separate ways, right? And then on their side is another pretty positive card as well at the bottom of the deck, which is the Temperance card. So that's a card about balance, restoring balance, and, also definitely a positive energy to have as well. So we'll see. We'll see what the oracle cards add to it. Like I said, maybe for some reason I was just seeing this a lot more negatively than it actually is. But like I said, what really threw me off is you both have the Six of Wands energy in the past, but this person had the Tower with it. And like I said, and the artwork almost speaks for itself here. So that's what really made me think, all right, it must have been some kind of third party. But why would both of you have felt that Six of Wands energy? I don't know. Maybe for some of you, it could even been where you were the third party, right? And then they ended up leaving the person they were with for you. Maybe that's what happened because maybe they, got you pregnant. I don't know. Seems a little crazy. Like I said, it's probably only going to resonate with a handful of you because it just seems so specific and weird. But hopefully, those of you who do resonate with this, you're getting something out of it. All right, what we'll do next is we'll try to pull a couple oracle cards from this Mystic Moon oracle deck I have here. And what these cards will be about is, unspoken messages from you towards them. And then we'll see if they have any unspoken messages from them toward you as well. And what I do with this deck is I'll shuffle for a bit. If nothing seems to come up, I'm not going to force anything or pull anything from the top of the deck or anything. I usually will only take jumpers with this deck, so we'll see. If nothing comes up, we'll treat it as there's nothing more to, add as far as that goes. But even if that happens, I have another oracle deck that will pull a card from to wrap things up too. So there's definitely more messages to come with this reading because it's definitely, like I said, a little crazy. Might be one of the weirdest ones I've ever done, quite frankly. At least for a general, that's for sure. All right. So like I said, I'll shuffle for a bit here, see if we get anything as far as unspoken messages from you to them. All right, nothing seems to be coming up, so we'll look and see if there's anything from them to you. Nope, got one, but it did fall, so give me a second while I pick that up. We'll take a look at it. Okay, interesting. So the card we got from their side is it possible to forgive and forget? So at the very least, that makes it seem a little bit more likely that they were the one involved in the third party scenario, if that's what's going on. Ultimately, it would have to be you would have to decide that as well. Now, to be fair, if this Five of Pentacles is leaning more towards the left out in the cold energy instead of the, working through the tough energies, that could be what the judgment is about. They come back to you and try to, repair things, and you might be like, yeah, no, I'm not having it. Because, like I said, yes, for some of you, it could be the fact that maybe there is a pregnancy involved, and that might really be what makes you two decide, all right, well, we thought we went our separate ways, we thought it was over, but now this is in the mix. Are we going to try to work through this? For others of you, like I said, it doesn't have to mean pregnancy. It could just be the energy you're in, that Empress energy, which is very receptive, open, confident, letting things come to you. In a way, it can be, I wouldn't say entitled, but it's definitely one of those energies where you're not going to go out and get anything. You're expecting things to come to you. So that could just be the energy you're in. It doesn't necessarily mean at all. Obviously, not all of you can find out you're pregnant this month. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were the ones involved in the third party. And I got to say, for a lot of you, it could be the more feminine energy since it looks like the female energy looks exactly the same in all three of these positions. And then the male energy does change. So, for what it's worth. But yeah, that's what's going on there. And then let's see. what additional messages we get from this deck. So this is actually one of the Oracle decks I use in the normal readings too, the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, and we'll pull one card from here and wrap up. Like I said, this was definitely a crazy one, so I don't know. Maybe you guys want to check your, like let's say your Pisces moon or rising, check out your sun sign reading, or if you're Pisces sun, check out your moon or your rising, because this is definitely a crazy one to where I'm like, there's no way a large handful of you are going through this situation, so, you know. But yeah, we'll pull one card from this deck and wrap up, see if it adds anything to it. Oh, there we go. Well, this actually does seem to align with the reading somewhat. It's the Fates, this card. So this card is definitely about some things where you're like, what the hell just happened? Which definitely does align with the reading in that regard. But yeah, there you go. It's the Fates. There's the artwork for it. And the number is 17. So just like the Grace card, which is the same as the Star card. So maybe there's some significance to that. But we'll see what the messages in the book say. All right. It says essential meanings: fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing what those things are. The Oracle's message: the Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There are things in your life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by Spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events in your current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. So it's pretty funny because I think there was one other time months ago where I had a really odd reading like this too, but it was just a general reading though, not a love reading. And then the fates came out too. It's like, all right, apparently you're not supposed to get any more insight on what this is. But yeah, let's see what the relationship message says. It says, other people are who they are. You can't change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and try not to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to take a look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be, so you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the perspective of Spirit? Now is the time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, Spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result. So, another thing that comes to mind too is another way that this could have played out is really it could have been where there was no commitment in the past. Maybe with the Six of Wands energy, it's just saying that both of you were popular, right? Maybe you were out partying a lot. It was just your thing. It was very casual between you guys. And then maybe that is what ends up happening as far as the fated part, right? You end up getting pregnant or they end up getting pregnant. And now it's like, oh, okay, well, now what? So maybe that's what it was in a way where it could have been one of those things where they're saying that that's fated because maybe the two of you needed to snap out of that mode you guys were in. I don't know. That would at least be one of the more positive ways it could play out. Like I said, this was definitely a crazy reading, so it's probably only going to resonate with a handful of you. Like I said, I will say with that eclipse in the fifth house, it would not surprise me if some of you found out that you were pregnant this month, and it might come as a bit of a surprise for some of you. But yeah, hopefully this resonated for at least some of you. And we'll wrap up here, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.